Hello, and welcome. My name is Michelle, and I am your emotional resilience coach, and it is fantastic to have you join me here today. If you are in a place where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you are in the right place. A couple of years ago, I hit rock bottom and then found that my rock bottom had a basement. I was really sick. I was tired. I was hanging on by a bare thread, and I needed, for my own survival, I needed to learn new ways of being. I needed to break out of dysfunctional, codependent, narcissistic relationships. I needed to take my power back. I needed to learn how to act, not be acted upon. I needed to learn to not be the victim in my own story anymore. And this is what I do, and this is what makes me excited. This is what makes me feel passionate, and I love to share with you things that I have found, tools and skills and thoughts that can help you. As a recovering codependent / people pleaser, I know how difficult things can be, how confusing things can be. We get stuck in patterns that we do, and we sometimes wonder, why is this not working? Or we ask ourselves, what is wrong with me? Or what is going on? Why do I keep repeating these things in my life? And the thing is that because of the patterns we have learned and the way that we shown up, sometimes we are drawing this into our lives because it's what we know. It's not what we like, it's not what we enjoy, it's what we know, and it is what we are familiar with. So today I want to chat to you very quickly about anger. And I know that for most of us growing up, anger was not something we were ever given the space to actually feel or express. All right, we would have been just shut down, screamed at. More anger would have been directed at us. Having been abused, we would have been manipulated. We would have had punishment, severe, perhaps cruel punishment directed at us. Anger was not something we ever really learned how to deal with correctly, appropriately, in a more healthy way, because their anger was obviously not healthy because it came out in forms of abuse. In some cases, maybe you witnessed anger and how it killed the person inside. It made the person really bitter and twisted. There were many instances where I would look at family and think, oh, I don't want to do the anger thing because it just makes people ugly. It just makes people mean, and it just makes people bitter. And you can see it etched on their face, their demeanor. There's like this dark cloud around them. And I'd be like, I don't want that. Or I would witness anger constantly in a destructive way. So people would have had a very angry upbringing, a very cruel, punishing, punitive behavior, just this real meanness that they went through, and they would repeat the patterns in their own lives because of those mirror neurons. They're just doing what they're seeing. They're just carrying on with what they know how, and this is what they are repeating. And I knew I didn't want that either. The downside about this was that I never got in touch with how to process my anger. And every time anger came up for me, I would again just push it down. Can't do it, can't feel it, can't go to that space. I would not allow myself to feel the rage. And the problem is, as you know, and as I've talked, if you haven't, please do go back and look at my other videos. I do talk about sitting with emotions, being with our emotions, feeling our emotions, allowing ourselves to have that experience of emotion. Something which is really hard if you're used to dissociating, and so you're used to just numbing your emotions all the time, is learning to now be with your emotions. And it can be very scary and very overwhelming, but it's also very worth it to actually learn how to do it and how to get through it. And so one of the things that I needed to learn to make friends with, and I needed to learn why I needed to make friends with it, is the feeling of anger. Anger, if directed properly, actually does have a purpose. It actually has a role. And it doesn't have to be one of bitterness, and it doesn't have to be one of abuse or unkindness or mean-spiritedness. It doesn't have to be directed at anybody, nor do we need to internalize it and direct it within, because that just causes depression, that causes anxiety, that causes resentment. It causes us wanting to blame. It just builds up as this pressure cooker and then explodes. And then we have these scenes where we think, what happened to me? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I act out like that? Why did I, show up in life like that? Like that poor woman. Like, why? This poor woman, she got it. Like, why? What was going on with me? And the thing is that it needs an out. It does need an outlet. I've spoken about doing things like brain dumping. You could do exercise. Sometimes people really enjoy doing high-powered, high-intensive exercises where they get to just get that anger out. Boxing, kickboxing, running, riding, something that's got a bit of an impact to it, where you can feel your body able to just process and move that anger through and out. Sometimes we just want to sit and scream into a pillow and cry and shout. And you let me know what works for you. One of the exercises I was given many, many years ago by a therapist, she said to me, write a letter. My stepfather passed away 20 years ago. And she said to me, write a letter to him. And for so many years, I couldn't do it. My brain just would not allow me to enter into that exercise, to even write a letter after he was dead, saying to him how I felt, what I felt, and why I felt it. The child in me just hid and ran away, and the audacity of it, I can't do that. He's going to get me. He'll get me for this. I can't do that. And so it took so many years, it took almost 20 years for me to start getting into that place where I would have conversations with him in my head, and I'd start saying things on paper, how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and to say things like, you were wrong. And the reason why I say anger can be used for your good, and why you want to kind of embrace it, and why you want to become familiar with it, and why you want to recognize it, is not so that we blow up and fight back and get back at people and punish people or be bitter or any of those reasons. But one of the most fantastic ways that I see anger actually working for us and being there for us in our lives is that anger allows us to know where our boundaries are. It allows us to know where that line in the sand needs to be drawn, what we will accept, what we will be okay with, and what we won't be okay with. It allows us to get into a position where we say, so far and no further. This is where my boundary is, and this is why my boundary is there. It's kind of like that little red flag that we need. I think so often we ignore red flags because we're not used to feeling anger. We don't allow ourselves that luxury, if you want, of feeling that anger because we have this fear of what this anger could lead to. Or we were shut down so often we don't even know how to do it, but then it comes out in strange ways, sometimes in very passive aggressive ways in our relationships with people, because we don't know how to communicate straight at them. So we will do things in passive aggressive ways instead of having those difficult or those hard conversations that need to be had about what we're feeling and why we're feeling it. So let me know in the comments what you think, what you feel, how you like to process anger. This is just good, healthy ways. Let's share with one another that you do this and this really works for you and allows you to get that anger out of your body. I have shared some ideas with you, and I have noticed that it is really good in allowing me to not ignore red flags. There is good in everybody, but this doesn't mean that there isn't bad. All right, it's there too. Know your red flags, know your limits, what you will accept, what you won't accept, and how and when you should set those boundaries. When I feel that resentment, or I feel the rising in my blood pressure, I can feel that anger. For me, the sensation is a bit of a bubble, I can feel it rising in my body from the pit of my stomach, and I kind of feel like I'm going on like alert all over, like the hairs at the back of my head stand on end, and I go, no. When that starts to happen, I know I need to set a boundary. This is a warning for me, for them. If we're going to have any form of a relationship, a boundary needs to be set. It protects me, it protects them, and it allows for healthier, better relationships. As codependents, we need a lot of guidance and help in this area. Let me know if this has helped you. Do please hit like, subscribe, the notifications button, and share with anyone you feel this could help. And leave in the comments or come over to Instagram and say hi to me there, Emotional Resilience Coach, and let me know how you like to deal with anger. Have a fantastic day.